Today on the Cooligans, in the first segment of 2019, Happy New Year, everybody. We talk about some sad news, with Siggy Schmidt and everything, and we talk about that. But we try to cheer people up with the great news about Brek Shea coming all the way to Georgia. Very, very exciting. Big difference from that first segment to the second one. Also, people are getting divorced. People are transferring to different teams, and we talk all about it. And we also get to some of our favorite moments of 2018.
Yeah, that's right. Also, in the second segment, we talked to Dan Hunt, owner of FC Dallas. This is our last in the FC Dallas interviews, but we get a chance to talk to him, and we would love for you to hear it and let us know what you think of the interview. But it's not just that, because we also got more on this episode of the Cooligans!
Hey, this is Alexi Lawless. There is nobody in U.S. soccer that is more important than the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
Welcome to 2019. Feliz
is
año
another
nuevo.
Another year. Otro año nuevo.
That's right. We made it. I know, no one thought we were going to make it through 2017 because every single week you tune into the Cooligans podcast and there's another disaster that we have to talk about that's making us comedians sad. But no, we're trying to start off on a good note.
Bro, this is 2019 Cooligans. What could be better than that?
Yeah. What's 2019 Cooligans gonna look like? Is it gonna look like Hector Bellerin's outfit?
Oh my God! Please, I hope not. Yo, my man. It's funny. Like he does some wild stuff, and when somebody reaches, like in comedy, like a joke may not hit, but you really appreciate the comedian going out on a ledge to try that, to get that concept across or something.
Yeah.
With him, it's like, all right, but just don't ever do that again. You know what I mean? Like, fashion-wise, we respect you, bro, but please put that jacket away.
He's a daring and bold individual. I mean,
you remember we were talking about how dangerous dudes in bucket hats are? I take it all back.
Looking soft as hell. You're ruining the bucket hat, Hector. What you doing, man?
my dude looking like Charmin. Squeezably soft.
Exactly. So, look, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to 2019, man. We are excited to be here. We have a fun show in store for you. I mean, we're finally. I think is this our last interview from our FC Dallas capades that we did. I think so. This is the last one. So
I think all of our fans that aren't FC Dallas fans hope so.
I hope. I think we've gained at least all the FC Dallas fans that attend games, which is it's not a full house, but I'm sure there's at least like 700 or 800 more listeners because I would
hope so.
I would hope so.
Because we interviewed everybody except the damn janitors.
But we do have our interview that we're playing with Dan Hunt, the owner of FC Dallas. He also owns the Hunt family, which owns the Kansas City Chiefs,
the Chicago Bulls.
And again, we've been talking about the lead up to this interview, and we still. I mean, we have to. The only way people are going to believe it happened is that we're going to play it for you because we couldn't even believe it either. I don't even know if this is I just sent Alexis the audio of the interview. I don't even know if there's anything on there because who knows what could have happened in the time from when we recorded to now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like any major changes, coaches and players leaving. Not at all. So some of what he say might be dated.
a little bit, but that it doesn't take away any of the sentiment from it. So just keep that in mind that the interview was recorded in October, but you have a lot to look forward to. It's a really interesting interview. It's two comedians talking to not just a owner of a soccer team, but just a very rich person. That was really what really struck us.
A guy who in a week makes both of our families' net worth. So. Also, if you're a fan of another team and you wish, why couldn't the Cooligans have done this for insert favorite team, whether it be, Portland Timbers or LAFC or Minnesota United? Well, reach out to the folks that run those Twitter accounts or that work at those teams and tell them you want the Cooligans to come out and then make 6 or 7 episodes about your team.
Okay,
we want to do it. We want to do it.
This is it's not even a podcast anymore. It's a documentary on FC Dallas, and we really explored
like Sunderland till I die. This is now FC Dallas.
That's right. Okay,
until everybody leaves. That's what we're going to call it. FC Dallas till everybody leaves.
So it's a lot to look forward to. You guys are going to really enjoy. So welcome to the show. If this is your first time listening to the Cooligans, because we've been
maybe this is your New Year's resolution is to actually start listening to a funny soccer podcast.
Exactly. This is the only one. Any other ones you've been listening to have actually just made you depressed. And this is the medicine that you need. This is the soccer medicina, right?
Hell yeah. And it's probably the only medicine you can afford with these healthcare prices, bruh. So
okay,
welcome aboard.
Unless you're in Canada and then you listen to this for free because you guys got really good medicine up there.
Which I just was. And by the way, like a bottle of Advil costs like $2.50. It's insane.
$2.50. Okay, and
yeah, because I was trying to figure out what they use up there. I don't think it's cents. You know what I mean? Their play money legit looks like a futuristic version of Monopoly. It's like very bright, very big.
Yeah. Yes, there's a lot of graphic designers out there in Canada doing their thing. But yes, we. So if this is your first time listening, so my name is Christian Polanco.
My name is Alexis Guerreros.
And we are your favorite stand-up comedians out in New York City who host a comedic soccer podcast. It is not only the funniest soccer podcast that you've ever listened to, but it is also what, Alexis? What is it?
It's also the damn gulliest. And it's just only going to keep getting gullier in 2019, bruh.
That's right. That's all we can do. I mean, the gulliness grows exponentially as the show goes on and on. So
right. We threw out the gullometer because it just kept pinging all the way to the right. We're like, no, we got to throw this thing out because we're reaching new levels of gulliness.
At this point, it's making too much noise, right? It's getting really distracting.
We get it, gullometer.
So we are excited to be back for 2019 and do a lot of very fun things. So you're gonna enjoy the show if this is the first time you're listening. So this is a couple things. Usually when we get the show started, we usually try to focus on trying to highlight the people that show us a little bit of love on iTunes. For a little review. This is I feel like we should at this point name this segment, like the gulliest reviews or something along those lines.
Gulliest review of the week.
So make sure we're currently at 332 reviews. You guys help us get to 400. We're almost there. It's just gonna take.
Oh, we could do that.
I'm not even good at math, and I just think it's like 4 or 5 more, and I think we're all set. So
yeah, we mad close.
So speaking of FC Dallas, this is kind of referencing that the string of interviews that we've had. So this was from Theo J. So Uncle J. He goes, soccer. It's the subject is soccer with a twist. I don't know what is this, an M. Night Shyamalan podcast? I don't know. But anyway, so he goes, I found out about this podcast randomly when their account liked the photo I put on Twitter. I'm a few episodes in now, and I'm sold. They seem to know what they're talking about and present it in an entertaining way. And bonus point for being able to dissect and analyze hip-hop with Reggie Cannon. All right. Thank you, Tio.
Okay. What an odd way to find us. And also, what an odd point to make, but it's true. We do all those things.
Yeah.
And also, it took you a couple episodes to figure out we're hilarious.
But he's sold, meaning he didn't want to buy it. He was
okay.
He was a cautious consumer. Like, oh, I don't know. Is this gonna poison me when I get home? So he was just. I get it. I understand that, which is totally fine. So
don't be our cheap Uncle Jay. Go ahead and buy right away, baby.
So yes, and occasionally, I think because of Twitter, when they changed it from the chronological timeline to like tweets that you should highlight, like highlighted tweets. So now there's sometimes people you may not follow that come up on the timeline. So occasionally we'll we may like a photo of yours. I don't know. Like maybe
one of someone we follow likes it.
Yeah.
And that pops up on ours. We don't know what's on there.
We don't.
Okay?
I mean,
we have no idea.
We're gonna like it like little creeps. Okay, I don't care what. I don't care if it's 3-4 in the morning.
Keep posting dope photos, and we're creeping on all your pictures, my guy.
yeah, Uncle Jay. I don't know what you posted, but I'm gonna like it. Okay, get used to that.
Hell yeah, that's the energy we're bringing to 2019. We're liking all your shit, whether we follow you or not.
So get ready. All right. So let's start 2019. As we sadly a lot of the shows that we do start off on a sad note. We start sad.
But wait, before we do that, I also want to thank everyone who joined Gully Squad in 2018, and I also want to thank guys like Dio Joe, Jay, and everyone else who's going to join Gully Squad in 2019.
That's right. Yeah. So thank you. We've gotten a lot of people to join up and help just support the show. And it's changed our lives. So keep doing that. And we're going to be able to do more stuff like we did at FC Dallas, which, frankly, those FC Dallas trips don't happen for free. They cost us money. And we try to, we almost took like a big gamble doing that kind of stuff. Because what if we went out to FC Dallas, interviewed a bunch of FC Dallas players, and then all the interviews were terrible, and everybody was like, "Yo, yeah, you guys waste your money going out there." But no.
Or imagine we went out there and everyone we interviewed left.
Every single, yeah, that would have been, that wouldn't have worked. People would have been like, "No, do not come visit my team ever again."
Please stop going out here.
Unless maybe there's like, if you want to fund us traveling to your rival team to help dismantle them from the inside.
Are you kidding me? I'm all about that. Is there anything gullier than like Orlando City fans paying for us to go to Atlanta, or Seattle fans paying for us to go to Portland?
All of a sudden, we drop in through the vents like Mission Impossible. Why are you doing all this?
I fall through the drop ceiling, but you actually come down through the vent. We
came to tear this club apart. I'm sorry. The Gully Squad members requested it. I don't know what else I can tell you.
Alexis, are you okay? And why is there a bagel in your mouth? And I was just like, call the hospital.
Anyway, so thank you all those people for joining. But yes, we have to start with the very sad news about Sigi Schmid. Sigi Schmid most recently coached the LA Galaxy, but obviously he is an American soccer legend. He coached the Seattle Sounders. He won MLS Cup with Columbus Crew. He is a staple of Southern California soccer. He's one of these people that is once after reading more about him after his death. He reminds me. He's like this the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but for soccer. It seems like
everybody seemed like they were involved somehow.
Everybody, has had some experience with Siggy in some way, whether he coached you, played against you, something. He has. No one has one negative word to say about the guy, but. It died fairly young. I mean, clearly he had health issues. I mean, that was evident. But just overall, like I think after all the stuff I read about him from so many people, I'm like this. He needs there's going to be a documentary about Sigi Schmid and the impact he had on American soccer, because at this point I feel like we only kind of scratched the surface, and somebody has to like put it all together.
And something should be named after him, some type of trophy or a hall or something, because I knew he was very integral in American sports, and I knew he was very important in the history of MLS. But I couldn't really. I mean, I guess I never really think of college soccer because they didn't allow me to play because I was too good. I don't know if you guys know the story.
Oh yeah,
I was just too good.
The documentary on that is going to be amazing too.
Yeah. How does someone relegate themselves? But so I had no idea how important he was to UCLA soccer, and I didn't know previously, up until we started doing this podcast, how important UCLA soccer was, because it seemed like a lot of the major names that we talked to that were very big in the early 2000s, their main goal was to go to UCLA and play soccer, and it was to go play for Siggy Schmidt. And I think that it sort of touched me again when I saw the post that Jimmy Conrad put up about how important it was to play for a man like that and to sort of come full circle and have Siggy Schmidt sort of depend on him at UCLA soccer and start him and coach him. Like, to him, that was a big honor. Like, it almost like he didn't care if he ever played pro. He wanted to play for Siggy at UCLA. So, this man's history just goes back so much further than even MLS. And, to have him sort of pass without being able to really sort of take all the expertise we can from a man like that and all the cool stories. And just another story, I forgot who put it up. I think it was maybe Jason Davis. I can't remember right now who put it up, that after he was fired, he called maybe this was Max Bredos actually, when he was fired from one of the jobs that he had at MLS, he called all the reporters and bought them dinner and thanked them for covering the team honestly and respectfully. And this is before anyone really cared about covering MLS. Just think about that. I would have never thought to do that.
Well, yeah. Don't compare yourself to Siggy. You would never do anything like that. I don't know.
No, that's what I'm saying. I would have been. Here's the thing. Even if I thought
the bar is too high, you're setting your standards way too high.
I wouldn't even have thought to buy them dinner. But like, even if the thought, like, if I'm saying in a different world, somebody does something that the thought would pop in my head, but I'm like, I ain't buying nobody dinner. I just got fired. They should buy me dinner. You know what I mean? He took it a step further. He thought about it and did it.
I'm just thinking. Imagine somebody calling us and saying, "Hey, thank you for covering the team fairly." I'm like, "Well, you sure you got the right number?" I don't think you called the right number.
Who are you? Who sent you?
Why are you spreading these lies?
These rumors. People are going to start to believe them. I swear to God, if you call this number back one more time.
So look, I only expect to hear like more stories, and I think we should definitely make an effort to kind of get more of that, hear more of those stories, and for people listening, like, look the dude up. I mean, it's not just a lot of times, like, the only people pay attention to the league from when their team kind of got into it, and MLS existed before Atlanta United and before Orlando and before NYCFC, and there's a long history of how we got to where we are now, and a lot of these success stories of these great expansion sides and that have all this support. A lot of it doesn't happen without the effort of Siggy Schmidt in some way, because he influenced almost every single player in American soccer. It's incredible. So all the best to the Schmidt family, and he will be remembered for the rest of American soccer's legacy. So, all right. So let's actually talk about real quick, because he was the last he was formerly with LA Galaxy, and there was recent information of who the next coach is going to be, and we finally found out. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but it's looking like Guillermo Barros Schelotto will be the next coach of the Los Angeles Galaxy.
Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed, but all signs point to him having accepted an offer. So, they got their plan C. Looks like it's a pretty good plan C,
not
man.
Not a bad plan C, I got to say.
And there's a rumor that Carlos Tevez is going to come play for LA Galaxy, which I'm a big fan of Carlos Tevez, but he can't even get on the field for Boca.
Sure.
But Tevez and Ibrahimovic, that is... just bubble wrap everywhere.
I don't even think any of them are they're not even gonna pass it to each other. I don't. Those guys are born and bred strikers, and they barely know what an assist is.
Yeah, no, Ibrahimovic is like, I didn't come here to help nobody.
Okay.
I bet you even now that he knows that MLS does MLS assists or second assist, where if you pass it to someone who then passes it to the goal scorer, you get credit for the assist. Ibrahimovic's like, I'm definitely not passing it to anyone because I don't even want that scar on my record having assisted the assister.
Don't you dare put that on my career stat sheet. That's that blemish.
My kids can see the internet. God damn it.
I tried to keep it from them, but so that would be actually I'm pretty stoked about that. So because LA Galaxy are having a lot of issues right now where they have to decide, who the next coach is going to be. They have to figure out who their 3 designated players are going to be, and it's looking like Romain Alessandrini might be the odd man out. So they might have to, Giovanni Dos Santos might not be able to get rid of him. Actually, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, we didn't talk about this before, but he did get a new contract, and he is now the highest paid player in Major League Soccer. What do you think about that?
I mean, look, I said he was going to be a bust, and it turns out he scored, 20 in 22 games? So
yeah, he did all right.
Maybe I just leave my opinion to myself. I mean, at this point, you should hope I call your favorite player a bust.
Okay. So, yeah, it seems crazy that he's the highest paid player. I understand, but he's a very good player. And he fills the stadiums. So
I mean, some of that money is retro, obviously.
Yeah, because he got paid. He got paid.
We have to load it up a little bit because of what you did last year.
He got next to nothing last year, as far as what was on the books. Anyway, so but there's rumors that Romain Alessandrini. There was a pretty strong rumors going around about him going to Montreal, and then LA Galaxy ending up with. Giovanni Dos Santos, Jonah Dos Santos, Alessandrini, and like they have to figure out what they're going to do. They can't have 4, clearly. But then now some people are suggesting that MLS might. So because I think it's by January 1st or January 2nd. That they need to have the DPs sorted out, like the rosters. I could be wrong about the date, but some people are suggesting that because we haven't heard an announcement, it's LA Galaxy sort of playing chicken with MLS to see if they're gonna force them to change the rules so that they can keep all 4 players.
You know they will. They created the DP because of Beckham. LA Galaxy have gotten whatever they wanted whenever they wanted it. So they will. Or they're just going to add some sort of stipulation where, for 1 year only, you can buy a team's other DP that they're not using. And Philly is going to be like, can someone buy all of them?
Maybe they'll do like some weird, this is not the LA Galaxy rule. This is specifically the Romain Alessandrini rule. So we can get back into the playoffs in 2019 and nothing more. This has nothing to do with anyone else.
So you've created something called Zlatan allocation money?
And only Zlatan can receive it, and only the LA Galaxy can offer it. Okay, interesting.
And unanimously voted on by all the owners, you say? Oh, all the owners who attended the secret meeting at LA Galaxy's office? Fair enough.
Wow, okay.
Fair enough, MLS.
Interesting. Okay. All right. You know what? This checks out. I don't really have any issues. Audit canceled. We don't need to check anything.
Seems fair to me. Tell Robert Mueller to close the books.
Okay. So I'm excited to see what happens out there. It's gonna be interesting. So, a couple other things. Let's discuss Atlanta United as we do every show, because this is an Atlanta United show and nothing else.
Please don't say that, because someone's going to isolate that and play that over and over and over again, because people are starting to believe it is.
No, man, there's people. This is when you win MLS Cup and when you are a popular team, the new hot thing. You gotta get ready for some haters. And Atlanta United fans are getting some vitriol delivered at them. But this comes with the territory, right?
Dude. I mean, yeah, you won, bruh. I mean, you got to take some shit now. You at the top. Everybody's coming for your crown.
Exactly. So. Yeah, it's been fun seeing Atlanta United fans argue with Rebel fans, and it's like, hey, they're not screaming at us. Nobody's screaming at us. It's kind of nice. So obviously the big news out in Atlanta. Really, I mean, when we're talking about big signings, all right, when it comes to deadline days and big moves, nobody's talking about Christian Pulisic leaving Dortmund. Nobody's talking about any of those things.
No. We're talking about a player that should count for almost 2 DPs.
Okay. Because the homie Brek Shea, formerly of the Vancouver Whitecaps, formerly of Orlando City, formerly of Stoke City, and it's always a good sign when you play for a dozen teams. That's right.
Yeah, no, I mean, that just goes to show how many people clamored for the talent this man has.
No, look, this is not. We're not here to poo-poo the Shea, right? Because
yeah, we're talking about Brek Shea, by the way.
We're talking about Brek
We
Shea.
didn't mention it. Everybody knows we're talking about Brek.
No one was confused, not even for a second. The man who's gonna rename Mercedes-Benz Stadium to Shea Stadium. It is Brek Shea going to Atlanta United, officially signing. And at first it was like a rumor, and this was great. And this is what happens, right? Because Atlanta United, they had to when your team wins, and this is what happens in MLS. It's difficult to win a second year because players win, and like, all right, time to renew that contract. Yo, I need to get paid. And then MLS is like, oh, we got the salary cap thing. I don't know what you're talking about. We can't just pay you like that. And then he's like,
sorry, that's not how it works here, unless your name is Zlatan.
all right, we ran out of Zlatan allocation money, and
yeah, it's not like they're not creating Garza allocation money anytime soon.
So, Greg Garza goes to FC Cincinnati because that's where the money's at, and they bring in Brek Shea, and this was if you watched any Vancouver Whitecaps game in 2018, first of all, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say to you.
Tough. It's tough.
Tough year.
I hope you didn't pay extra for cable for that.
But Brek Shea,
I think the one standalone Brek Shea moment is the open goal where I don't know. I think his body gives up the ability to be athletic, the opportunity to score an open netter.
His top half of his body was like, you know what? I'm going to protest the lower half of my body.
The lower half was like, that's cool because I'm about to take a nap. I don't know what happened. He just fell forward.
Okay, his bottom half was like, you know what? I'm going to go me right now, right? Because I'm a little tired.
How about I just snooze a little bit? Top half, you can cover this, right? Top half is like, sorry, I'm already out the door. What was you saying?
Oh, I thought you were going to take care of that.
Come on, this is soccer. The bottom half got to cover most.
A lot of miscommunication between Brek's appendages. It happens.
No, I
sometimes.
think you said it right. A miscommunication between the appendages. It's hard to communicate between the bottoms and the tops.
Yeah, I don't know what system they use out in Canada. That's what's his problem. He went out to Canada. They speak a different language.
Well, just like their money, when the ball came to him, he went loony and toony. You know what I mean?
So yes, obviously, if you haven't seen that clip of Brek Shea just missing a great opportunity,
I'm laughing thinking about the goal.
It was not his finest moment. And when a team wins MLS Cup, the idea is that if any players leave, that the quality will kind of stay the same with the players that they bring in, because there's a bar that has to be met, and that's the main concern a lot of Atlanta United fans have, that Brek will just be a nightmare.
I mean, look, he's not a like-kind exchange for Greg Garza, exactly. Okay. But the kid's got talent, right? Now, can he find it again? That's the question. But do you know, I'm only asking because I didn't look this up. Big shock to everyone who's listening right now. But do you know what the money is? Because he was a free agent and he was getting paid $750,000 a year.
They haven't announced it. And that's one of the things a lot of reporters that we talk to, I remember when we were hanging out with Paul Tenorio in Atlanta, and one of the things he talked about, I forgot who was it that asked him when we were all hanging out. Somebody said, what is like the one thing that you would hope that MLS can change that would help reporters more? And I think he said about salaries. Just tell me how much a player's getting paid so I can understand their value and
right, or more importantly, what like the TAM or GAM distribution was.
Yes,
it's like that's like such a big secret, and then it forces them to sort of guesstimate or to go to sources to try to figure it out, which is just confusing for everybody.
Yeah, and I love that Atlanta United fans were, they're not only concerned about the quality of the player, but a lot of Atlanta United fans get a lot of stick for like, you guys are new, you don't understand stuff about the league, and admittedly, there's a lot of people that the team is very, very popular, so clearly there's going to be people that don't really understand how the league works or don't really understand the sport that much, and they're taking their baby steps and are learning along the way. It's not really necessary to mock them for it, especially when we need all the soccer fans we can get. There's not many of us that are supporting American soccer, so why besmirch people that are trying, even if they
do you think this is going to help in any way, shape, or form saying this?
But what I did want to give them credit for was a lot of people were asking, how much is he getting paid? Because they have a lot of love for a lot of their players. Like, and for example, Julian Gressel, I saw somebody tweet, I don't remember who specifically, but they were just like, if Brek Shea is getting paid more than Julian Gressel, I'm going to lose my mind. And that's great.
Which is fair.
That's a
that man just got married, by the way. Shouts to him. Congratulations,
Julian. That's right. Him and his wife.
Certainly deserves.
Casey, right? I believe her name was. She came to she was at the show as well that we did in 2017 in Atlanta. So, but yeah. So
and
shout
we
out
forced
to
her to eat carbs via our podcast.
That's right. We shamed her into having pizza.
Which is what we do. That's part of what we do. So just keep that in mind if you want to join Gully Squad. Just know we've shamed players' girlfriends into eating pizza, and then they got married. So you're welcome.
Okay, so all right. Now I have an idea for a new matchmaking show that we can have.
Exactly.
I think it's
so.
great.
You're not allowed to marry her. She reached for the pineapple pizza. So we've told her your relationship is over. We hope you're cool with it.
Smack the ring out of her hand.
Get out of here. And we mean out of the country. Here's a plane ticket, one way to Romania. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so. The point is that I'm trying to make is he's probably getting paid more than that 750 so that they could pay him down with TAM. That's what I think. And if we're being honest, he's there to be competition for Bello. And I can't remember the other dude. But Bello's like 16 years old. I can't remember the name of the other dude who has an opportunity to start a left back. So, I mean, if that's what he's there for, and apparently he's really great in training, if he's there to get Bello to the next level, then that's a great signing.
It sure is, but also if he is getting paid more than Julian Gressel, wouldn't that be insane? Like at that point, Julian Gressel should have to be like, all right, I want to renegotiate my contract or sell me somewhere else, because it's just almost insulting, right? For a player to be that good, and then a new player comes in who's clearly not as good, but because of the MLS like veteran status that he may have,
right? The seniority rules that apply to him. But remember, he came back from a contract in Europe. He was a men's national team player at that time. So yeah, I mean, those are some of the things that happen when you have that level of success, even though he hasn't really been able to sort of meet that again or maintain it or ever live up to it, whatever, you know?
So we'll see. All I'm saying is that I could understand why other players or some fans would be a little insulted or have an issue with the signing to begin with, based on the fact that we don't know how much he's getting paid. So
but I think look, if anything, if it upsets you, just think of the old cliche, the old adage we all know, to the once looking like they were going to be the victors go the spoils. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, well,
that's it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Best of luck. We're gonna end up seeing Brek Shea lifting up the MLS Cup trophy at the end of 2019
as captain.
That's right. And Andrew Carlton's going to be sitting in the trophy while Brek lifts it up.
Newcastle just scratches off Miguel Almiron's name in the contract and puts Brek Shea.
It's going to be insane. So, look, if we're a fan of the signing strictly for the bands, right? We're going to have a good time.
Yeah. The banter's going to be great. Yo, what if Miguel Almiron doesn't get sold? Imagine Joseph Martinez, Pitti, Miguel Almiron, and Brek Shea all on one team. That's too many stars.
That's unfair. That's
LA Galaxy East.
Okay, what is it? The MLS All-Star team. Tone it down. All right, guys.
Come on. You only get 11. It's unfair.
So the other thing coming out of Atlanta, speaking of an Atlanta United player getting married, we should talk about another Atlanta United player getting divorced. Arthur Blank, this is shocking news. This was today. We're recording this on January 1st. Arthur Blank getting divorced from his third wife. The lady who has been by his side through success and through failure, even preemptive success remember when during the Super Bowl, she was the woman by his side who was ready to celebrate the Super Bowl winning Atlanta Falcons, and that didn't work out the way they planned. She was in the whip during the Atlanta United parade. And it's over. I don't know.
That's it for her. No more whip rides. You know what I mean? She's going to get paid lovely. Okay.
So the weird thing is that a lot of people are saying that she's the reason why Arthur Blank even invested in soccer to begin with and got involved in soccer because she was a fan of the sport. So if this is the case, then we have to thank her for a lot. Was she the beginning of this, the inception of this idea for Arthur Blank to use some of those billions of dollars that he has to invest in soccer? Now this is Arthur Blank's favorite thing in the world. Maybe is this what happens in with relationships where the other woman is really just a beautiful game? Maybe that's what happened to Arthur.
That's what it is. Maybe he's now he's married to soccer and cheating on soccer with her, and she can't have it.
Exactly. So look,
and she introduced them. It's like a husband who sleeps around with your friend. You introduced them.
She's just like, oh my God, I should have never played that messy highlight video.
Never. She's like, I could have, and then it got messy after that, which is just ironic, isn't it?
Look, man, we wish them all the best. Obviously, when it comes to financial issues, I think they're both going to be fine. There's no real neither of them going to be on the street, but Arthur Blank, I'm sure either he will find
he's not going to be sleeping in a sleeping bag at the Merc, at the Mercedes-Benz.
So we'll see what happens to them, but it is pretty sad, I guess. I don't know. Usually,
we wish them both luck in the future, but Arthur Blank is like, yo, I need to borrow the MLS Cup. We're going to Magic City, baby.
Yeah, a lot of people when they pointed out the timeline, they were just like, hey, the Atlanta United won MLS Cup. MLS Cup ends up in Magic City. Arthur Blank is divorced. Okay, it seems like there might have been a bit of an issue with a couple of these places that the cup traveled to.
Yeah. No, in all those photos, we need to enhance like they do on CSI and all that. You know what I mean? Just to find Arthur Blank sitting in the background in a dad hat at Magic City, trying not to get pictures taken of him.
Dad hat and a cigar. Okay.
He's like, no. I told you no pictures, man.
So, okay, a couple other things before we get to our interview with Dan Hunt. So the rumor is because of this, the transfer window is not open right for the next 30 days. January. This is what January is all about in world soccer. The Christian Pulisic news. It seems to be that there is already an agreement in place for Christian Pulisic of Borussia Dortmund to go to Chelsea. When the rumors were leaning more towards Liverpool because of Jurgen Klopp They know each other. The kid speaks German. They're gonna have a great time. He's not gonna be able to understand sorry. Nobody understands sorry. He has too many cigarettes in his mouth. Nobody gets it.
The guy's a maniac.
Nobody. I don't even know how the players play well. They haven't heard one tactical line of information from that man.
They're all looking at David Luiz. He's like, look, I don't know. He pointed to the left. Let's just go that way, okay? Everybody to the left.
So Christian Pulisic, it seems like he's going to be ending up at Chelsea, and everyone. I love how the response. Not even just Americans are like, yo, this is great. Our own going to be represented on the Prem. It's going to be great. I'm going to pick him in FIFA immediately, but. I love the response from everyone else in world soccer. Everybody's just like, he's not playing. He's not good. Why are they paying so much money for him? But this is the thing that a lot of the old-timey soccer heads, just like we have old heads in rap, we have old heads in soccer. And yo, whether
they're not with that mumble soccer.
This is mumble soccer now, okay? This is what the kids like, okay?
That damn trap soccer.
Okay, we don't need to be
the
playing.
sport used to mean something.
We don't need to play the game to show our quality. Oh my God, no, that doesn't happen anymore. How many Instagram followers do you have, CP? Yeah. All right, that's what we really want to know.
It's not really about my techers. It's more about my FIFA card, okay? And in FIFA, I'm fast and score every time I go to the left. Okay. So
what do you pick?
I'm good.
Yo, are you saying that e-gaming is not a sport? Because I'm going to send my homies, my Twitter army at you to really let you know and give you a piece of their mind.
We're going to send out the homie Mike LaBelle out to come see you. Okay. Come say what up, though.
All right? And you're going to get lost in his hair, all right? And that's what's going to happen.
Like we all do. It's mad natural.
So that's been the response where everybody's like, they don't, because Jadon Sancho obviously has kind of won that spot, in Dortmund. And you know what? This has crossed my mind a little bit where, yeah, Christian Pulisic is not getting a lot of playing time, but because of all the transfer news, this is somewhat common where they'll kind of sit the player so that in the middle of any negotiation so that they can confirm that he's going to get sold. They don't want him to get injured and stuff like that. So that is, I know Jadon Sancho has been playing well, but I also think that this has been part of it where they're like, maybe this is a bit of a punishment towards Christian Pulisic because he does want to leave. He doesn't want to renew the contract, and he's done in 2020. So the idea is, let's sell him now because we're going to lose him on a free. So
it just so happens to be the person they replace him with is incredible.
Yeah, he's also very, very good. But I feel like this is also a possibility that it's not just Christian Pulisic is a bad player and he lost his spot. I think there's a little bit of he's getting punished by Dortmund a little bit because of his decision to or a lack of a decision to confirm that he wants to stay with the club.
And I mean, look, there's
theory.
like all these rumors, like they have his dad followed Eden Hazard in Chelsea on Twitter, and all this stuff. It's possible that
I follow Eden Hazard on Twitter. Nobody's talking about is Christian Polanco signing with Chelsea? I mean, I put two and two together. It just seems to all make sense.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's it. That's the 2 and 2. You follow two players, and that's it. That's 100%. That's all it goes. That's all it takes. But it's possible that he's being sat because, he's being somewhat punished for wanting to leave or whatever. But just because Jadon Sancho is incredible, Messi's really good, but that doesn't mean the guy behind him is terrible all of a sudden because Messi's great. Yeah, it's like, Christian Pulisic is an incredible player, and he needs consistent playing time, and when he gets it, and if it happens to be at one of the top clubs in the Premier League, I think American soccer is going to be just fine, regardless of what Jadon Sancho's doing or not doing.
Yeah, I think if he does go to Chelsea, does he play? You think there's a real chance?
Look, if Shaqiri and Riyad Mahrez are, after I said they weren't, then it's possible he can, but I'll continue that streak and say he will never play, and he's going to be a bust because I want him to do well.
Look, I think I honestly think he has a better long-term like sustainability and a real future with Chelsea as far as the other players that kind of play in his position, right? Willian is, I think, around like 30, 31 years old. There's a couple older guys, and Pulisic is a young dude. I think he has a longer future based on what the clubs look like right now and what the squads look like now. I think he's better with playing time for maybe not this summer, maybe not in 2019, but I think in the future, I think he would be getting some good playing time at Chelsea.
I think, honestly, tactically, I think, or his style, I think he's better. He's a better fit at Arsenal, especially the way Emery is playing. But I'm happy to see him go wherever he's going to get playing time eventually.
Yeah, he would be fun to watch at Arsenal. Yeah, that would be fun. And they're already a fun team to watch. So, before we get to our interview, or should we do this after the interview? Do you want to say any favorite moments from 2018 that maybe people should, maybe look back to, or things that you just appreciated? We should talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's do that when we come back.
Okay,
so why don't we do this? Why don't we go to the interview with Dan Hunt, owner of FC Dallas? Look, we recorded this, as we said, in October, so just suspend reality for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a really great interview. Look, I know, and I know some of the FC Dallas fans are not massive Dan Hunt fans, but we would love to hear from you because we don't know the ins and outs, okay? We would love to hear from you what you thought of this interview. So if you are a fan of FC Dallas, or if you just happen to know what's going on at FC Dallas better than Christian and I do, let us know what you thought of the interview, and let us know how you thought he came across, because we happen to think he came across really lovely.
Yeah, very nice, and kind of shed a little bit of light on the history of the team, and just the influence of his father on the sport, and it was really interesting. So we didn't leave like hating the guy, but we've heard negative things about him, and that's fine to talk about. So we would definitely love to hear what you guys saw, because we know less than you do, especially the people in Dallas and in Frisco. So all right, so let's get right to it. Let's get to our interview with Dan Hunt right after this.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for listening to Cooligans. We just want to break in with a word about we're about to go to the United Soccer Coaches Convention in Chicago.
That's right. We're going to be there on Podcast Row. So we're going to be filming, some taping some interviews. We're going to be talking to a bunch of people in the soccer world. And it's going to be two comedians at a soccer convention. Soccer conventions are not always known to be the hottest, liveliest experiences.
Not a lot of action at these events, unless you're a soccer coach, and then this is the convention for you. But if you're a fan of the show and you never thought to yourself, hey, I'm not a coach, maybe I don't need to go to this convention, maybe you're just a fan and you want to come hang out with us, come do it. We're going to be at Podcast Row. So there's going to be a bunch of podcasters. Total Soccer Show's going to be there, and we're going to be there. And we're just going to be talking to different people. We're going to be interviewing different people. You can come hang out, listen to us, record a couple interviews. You could come meet us. We might pull you in and interview you. That's probably not going to happen, but come out and hang out.
Who knows? Don't heckle us like a lot of comedians are getting heckled nowadays. So, but it's going to be super fun. Like I said, we went last year, and we got to hang out with a bunch of people. It was a really, really fun experience, and it's a unique thing that people don't know much about. This is like everyone in American soccer goes to one location to talk about how to grow this, not only how to grow the sport, but how to like learn the game and learn more advanced like tactics and all these other things. But it is an honor for us to be invited, and we get to joke around and mess around with a lot of these people there. So it's going to be something you don't want to miss. So go to unitedsoccercoaches.org. You can get all the event schedule, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. But make sure you follow us, because we're going to be there. Follow us on Instagram. We're going to be doing a bunch of Instagram stories and a bunch of fun stuff. So come check us out at the United Soccer Coaches Convention in Chicago.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you're a fan and you don't want to go to the Coaches Convention, but you want to come hang out with us, show up and let's turn it up. Let's make this the gulliest soccer convention they've ever had.
That's right. Yeah, that's what they want. It's just a gully-ass soccer convention. Get ready. Get ready, y'all.
Yeah, baby!
Yes.
Come on!
Oh my God!
We're still in Dallas.
We are still in Dallas, and I'm not only thrilled, mostly nervous. This is
honored.
That too.
He's talking about being with me.
But
we're gonna look at us.
Mostly
right?
that. But this is the first time we've had a president, owner. Really,
just someone important,
royalty.
Someone.
Most of the time when people hear like two comedians, and we want to talk to you guys on a show, on a podcast.
The suits don't want to be on it.
The suits are like, wait, well, hold on. No, I need to protect the brand.
Yeah.
I have no interest.
No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the voice you're hearing and what you're alluding to is
Yes.
we're absolutely honored. We're here at FC Dallas's awesome grounds. We're here in the front office. And not only are we in the front office, we're talking to the front office. We are talking to the president of FC Dallas. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you're driving, put your hands together for the one and only Dan Hunt.
Dan.
Thank you, guys. I'm nervously honored to be with you.
Is it Mr. Hunt? Dan?
Dan, or hey, you.
Hey, you. Yeah. That's a real Southern charm thing right there. Because I want you to know, if I was president of anything, it would be Mr. Senor Alexis Guerreros. I want the whole name. How does it feel? Just, I guess the easiest thing to talk about is first in the West, qualified for the playoffs. U.S. Open Cups in the past, all these just great victories. But right now, you guys are doing incredible. How does that feel?
I mean, the run we've been on since 2014 has been unreal. Oscar Perea is a special guy and a special coach, and it's been a great year. The team is so different than anything we've ever had here before. And when I say that, we've had maybe some bigger stars. We had Mauro Diaz leave us in the summer, and happy for the opportunity for him. But we got a group of guys who love each other, and they fight as a team. And I always tell people two things about FC Dallas. I can promise you this: we'll be organized on the field, and we're going to fight like hell.
Yeah, and they do. And
very much so.
You guys play like an absolute unit. Speaking of Oscar Perea, rumors were that he got an opportunity, or at least he's on the short list of folks being looked at for the U.S. men's national team. I know you can't talk about that, but talk about just him as a coach. And it seemed for us like that's really deserving of an opportunity for someone like him, because he has taken this team that has lost some really big name players, and it seems like you guys haven't lost a step. That's got to be a nod to his system and to the system that FC Dallas has set up.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how it works out on the U.S. national team. We need to hire a coach for sure, and we got to be in that process. And I know U.S. Soccer is working on it. He would be a fabulous coach if that opportunity came up, and the club would very much support him. What an honor to be considered for what I consider the highest coaching job in America. And so if it works out, it works out. That's great. If not, I know he's happy here. We've had a ton of success with him. And you're right. It's the person he is, the heart. I mean, I heard one MLS owner who will remain nameless say he is a scrappy little you-know-what after a game when Oscar had an altercation with their coach. And I said, yes, he is. And that's why we love him here in Dallas.
Yeah. Now he fits that Dallas.
Now I'm just going to try to figure out what the you-know-what in that city. Could be anything.
Well, we're New Yorkers. It's probably a little different than what someone said down there.
Let me tell you something. It's pretty universal. I've learned.
That is awesome. When you guys, you switch from the Burn, we have the big Burn logo here. And there's so much that has changed about this club. One thing that sticks out to us, and we've talked about on our podcast since the beginning, is youth development. And you guys have tried some really different stuff. In particular, we talked to Tesho before, who's like, every time we're training, there's a few of the academy kids with the big players, the first teamers. That I don't recall that happening in the past in American soccer. Whose idea was that? And what do you think? Or what are some of the benefits of it? What have you seen happen from that?
Well, it's on Oscar. Oscar really is the father of our academy here. He was the first head coach / director, if you will, of the academy. And he grew it, and it grew in his image. And he's willing to have these kids in every single day. And you can imagine that as a 16, 17, 18-year-old, sometimes even the 15-year-olds come in and they see that their teammates are getting selected to go train with the first team. That only raises the level. What it does for us is it allows us to evaluate. And I would be shocked if any MLS club has half as many academy kids in training session. And it's just really good to see. It gives us the barometer of where this club is. And as our talent has increased here at the club, you're seeing more and more kids. And so it kind of feeds itself. It's that chicken and egg, but now it's the self-fulfilling prophecy too of great talent getting even better every day.
Is that important for a league like MLS where you're constricted a bit with you can't just go buy a player tomorrow. I mean, you certainly can, but you can't do that every time there's something happening. You have a cap and you have to do certain things. It seems like developing a player, especially from an area as rich as
Texas is. I mean, there's a lot of space here. There's got to be kids playing soccer everywhere.
There's a lot of kids and a lot of cows.
Yeah, a lot of cows. Well, listen, if we could get a cow a contract, let's do it. But for the most part, I mean, there's so many. Is that a part of sort of how you see the future, especially now that MLS seems to be changing a bit, where you have some teams that want to go out and spend crazy in the open market, and some other teams want to become more selling teams? Seems like you guys have made a commitment to developing your players from this market.
Yeah, that's a little bit of the culture. My brother and I are traditionalists in the game, and we think developing players is the way to go. And I'll be honest with you, all MLS fans should hear this. Every one of your markets has a ton of talent, but you've got to really work at it, scour it, and then have a plan to develop them. So, I mean, there's so much great American talent, and I think for us, it's sort of our DNA here in Dallas. We've said, look, we want to be homegrown. Look, we will buy young talent out of South America, but we've also found value in the draft too. The college players continue to, be great players, and I think you can find really, great roster players that can even start within a year or two. So it's, looking in a lot of buckets. I'm proud of what we're doing on the youth side, though. The number of national team players, the success these academy teams are having is unbelievable. And now we have one of the inaugural girls academy programs, which I'm really proud of. We've got 3 girls teams, and they're doing great too. I mean, I'm always stunned when I hear their record of winning about 80% of their games. It's amazing.
That's amazing.
That's
it's
wild.
Just the UConn women's basketball. You know what I mean? Like just dominant. Yeah. One thing I'm curious about. Speaking of youth development, we're both Hispanic. There is there are sometimes concerns about the Hispanic.
You guys are Hispanic?
No, sure, just to clarify.
Well, we're both wearing cowboy hats and bolo ties.
I was totally lost.
but sometimes that sort of has been a bit of a narrative across MLS, across American soccer, where they're like the Hispanic player, the Latino player or Latina player may feel disconnected, or they may not be able to either afford being a part of an MLS academy or youth academy. It seems like from that perspective, FC Dallas is very much engaged with the Latino community. And can you speak to that a little bit and the importance of that?
Yeah, if you are a great soccer player or even a good soccer player, nobody cares where you're coming from. We care that you love the game, that you're a good person, that you uphold the standards of this club. We're going to find a way to get you on a field. And I do think youth soccer is expensive. I'm a product of club soccer, and those dues, continue to grow every year. I don't think it's a hindrance to what we see going on in the national team program at all. I've heard that as a reason. I think one of our biggest challenges at the national team was that the academy system started too late in MLS to affect the 2018 World Cup. And I say that because we were relying on guys who were 30 and older and relying on kids like Christian Pulisic to be our savior when we didn't have a good core group of players who were sort of that 24, 25, 26, 27. But we need to turn over every rock in every community to give kids an opportunity to play soccer. So few are professional soccer players, let's be honest. We have a social responsibility at FC Dallas to get the kids in our youth system to college. We get over 140 boys and girls a year some kind of financial aid to college. And we're talking about a lot of first-generation Hispanics to be the only, or when I say first generation, they're the first generation in their entire family to go to college.
Yeah.
And that is a proud moment for us at FC Dallas. I think that's probably one of my favorite things that we do here. But, we need to be knocking down these barriers. And I'm not going to get on my political soapbox because nobody wants to hear it. But our government and all these barriers that are being built up, it's not okay what's going on. We need to treat our fellow human being with respect, and think about how to do right by people instead. And so I think, at the core of this club is family. We are a family business. My brother and I are, obviously business partners and very, very close. And everybody here is family. And these kids that are here, again, I don't care where you come from. I care that, you work to do your best on the field, off the field, and try to make your community a better place. That's who we are at FC Dallas.
That's a beautiful statement. And, you guys are right on the border, too. So you're like, bring on more kids.
More kids, less Mexican clubs.
Less Mexican clubs. We're happy you're there.
Yeah, more kids come this way.
But joking, though, you guys have kind of a tough position because you are on the border, and a lot of folks have fan bases or the kids.
Is that the border with Oklahoma?
Yes, that's of course what we're talking about. Build that wall in Oklahoma.
But vicious rivalry.
But you guys have sort of these, this affinity to the clubs back home, right? And wanting to play for a 3 versus US. Sometimes that happens. But you also struggle with the fact that, like, Texas kids, we all think first is high school football, Friday night lights. So you're trying to find the needle in that haystack that wants to play soccer. And then you might have them trying to maybe go for an academy for a different, for a Mexican team or something, or just want to play at a different place. How hard is that for you to go sort of sift through all of those kids that are here and find the ones that really want to play soccer?
Yeah, 5 years ago, if you look at our teams here, and some of them were national champions, you saw a great soccer player, technically very good, tactically very good, maybe athletically not as good. Today, we've seen so many kids leaving football, so that battle is now smaller than it's ever been, and they're leaving other sports, and they see MLS as a real career path. Obviously, the Mexican clubs here, there's a lot of scouting. There is some affinity, to back home clubs where, my grandfather was a fan of Club XYZ, and that's something we deal with here. But I think you're starting to see more and more kids say, hey, MLS is the viable option. Interestingly, Germany is one of the biggest challenges for a club like FC Dallas. We have more German scouts here looking at players, and we've had, obviously, Weston McKennie leave us for Schalke. But the number of German clubs that have interest in our players is pretty amazing. I would say that's now probably behind Mexico the second biggest market targeting our kids.
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, is that a positive, meaning like, we can possibly sell players to a German club, or is it you're competing to get these kids to sign up to your academy or a German one?
I think it's a positive. Obviously, they can pay a lot of money over there. That's a challenge. Although I say MLS, to their credit, has continued to adapt and think about how we keep these top young talents. And we have our relationship with Bayern Munich, which has been a fantastic.
You guys just sent 3 players over there.
Yeah, that's right. We had 2 go over for 10 days and 1 who's been on a 6-month loan there. We're really proud of that relationship. Unbelievable club. We have a lot of the same guiding principles. We view it as the next step in our player development model, where if a kid is not past the academy time, and when I say past, it doesn't even age-wise, they don't have to have outgrown our academy. And USL or League One or Championship, whatever route we go there, if that's not the right fit, or the first team, Bayern Munich has now provided a path for us, whether it's with their U19s or U23s. We now have what we can consider a complete suite of opportunities for kids to play soccer.
Wow! So you guys, for how young is your academy? You have a
U12 is our youngest academy.
U12.
The youngest kids here are U6.
Wow! So at the U6 level, I suggest you get a couple posters, put Stranger Danger, have a guy in a lederhosen and cowboy boots. This is Stranger Danger. I don't care what clipboard they have. Do not talk to this man.
Please stay away.
I just talk to us first. Is all I'm saying. Give us a chance.
So speaking of MLS and where it is now, obviously you are the Dan Hunt, the part of the Hunt family. A lot of history.
Day one
with this league. There's a bunch of questions I have. I don't know what you're okay or not okay talking about, especially regarding the Columbus situation or whatever. I don't know I think things are resolved now, but we'll see. But mainly, I'm curious to know, what was your childhood like being a part of this family and seeing clearly soccer has been important to you from day one. But how has that influenced you and to where you are now and how you run a club now?
You know, it's funny, and my dad was such a pioneer in everything that he did, and he had that never say die commitment to all sports, soccer probably being the biggest one. And you want to talk about a non-traditional path. He fell in love with soccer after seeing a Shamrock Rovers game. My mother was
in Ireland, in Dublin.
There you go.
I got a Bohemians jersey.
There you go. My mom was a Rotary scholar in Ireland, and he was over there visiting, and then he went to the '66 World Cup final. So this is totally non-traditional.
Which is England, when England won it.
That's exactly right.
The only time they won it. Remember that, England.
Oh.
Every time you make fun of us for saying the word soccer that you gave us. Sorry. Sorry, go ahead.
Hey, they're sending their wooden ships over to get us.
They'll be here in 6 months.
Do you have some tea? No, it's been funny though. That's a non-traditional path to fall in love with the game, and he fell in love with it, one, because of the passion of the fans, but two, because he thought whole families could play, not just dads and sons, but moms and daughters.
Right.
And it could kick a ball around. Football's a little bit different, but my brother and I always talk about dad's legacy in sports, and before each one of us gets up and speaks at something, whether it's FC Dallas or the Chiefs or whatever, he says, we look at each other and go, whatever you do, don't screw up dad's legacy. Just a little bit.
He's watching.
He's watching.
Yeah.
You know, my dad was so supportive, and both Clark and I played soccer growing up, and he played at SMU. And you had a guy who was so influential in sports, but yet he never missed a game, almost never missed a game for either of us, no matter what it was. He was out shagging balls all the time. And I have people tell me, we were on a soccer team with you when you were 13, and your dad was in the creek bed shagging balls. And I was like, well, I must have been shooting. But his love, not only for us, but love for other young people playing sports, participating, and love for these games. I mean, that's why sports are, where they are today.
Yeah, it's funny to me because you hear the name so much and the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup and it's from watching soccer, and Christian and I has become a lot more interested in MLS more recently because of the podcast. And when NYCFC started up by us, we became season ticket holders because we wanted to be a part of the league and sort of that advancement of it. And the name Hunt just continues to come up. Is that something that guides you guys in every decision you make? You mentioned don't ruin dad's legacy.
Don't screw it up.
Don't screw it up. There you go. Is it heavy, a crown to wear with the Hunt name, or is it something that you think gives you the opportunity to have a bit more say in how the game goes because you have sort of this very patriarchal figure in the sport in America?
Yeah, it's really an opportunity. It's something that I'm so proud of. And, people ask me, well, how do you, fill those footsteps that he left before? And I'm like, by getting out of the way of them and making my own mark. Right. And Clark talks about it too. And, we're so excited about the National Soccer Hall of Fame opening here. This is our family's generational goal of preserving soccer in this country. And it just didn't sit right with either of us. And people are like, oh, well, is it because your dad was in the class, National Soccer Hall of Fame, or was class of 82? And yeah, that is a little bit. But my dad fought so hard with so many great people who worked their tails off to make soccer work in this country. And those people need to be honored. Dad's fortunate enough to have his name on the trophy, and not everybody can have their name on a trophy. But even you look at the inductees this weekend, their impact on the game of soccer is unbelievable. And, we need to honor those legends, and that's only going to raise the stature of soccer in our country. And as you have more MLSers and more of the women's national team players go on, it will transcend communities that we have in the United States, where people say that person, came from an upbringing like mine, and look where they are. They were on a World Cup pitch, or they won an MLS Cup, or they're now in the National Soccer Hall of Fame. And that's why I'm thrilled to bring it back. And I think we've done an outstanding job with it. But those are big shoes. I just stay out of the way.
Yeah,
that's really smart.
Well,
that's awesome.
One thing that I would love to ask you about, and maybe just your...
I need my lawyer.
Probably, possibly. But one of them, when MLS looked like it was possibly not going to continue, one of the big things was the Hunt family bought several teams, and this is I'm basing this on vague memory of what exactly happened, but I believe, wasn't it that Lamar Hunt purchased like 4 or 5 teams when it looked like the MLS was not good? I forgot what year.
2010, they contracted 2 teams.
Well, so no, let's take a step further back. In November of 2001, we're sitting in the Chiefs' offices, and it was my first day on the job, and we're all sitting around in actually the vice president of the Chiefs' office taking a conference call. It was my dad, my brother Clark, John Wagner, who at the time was president of Hunt Sports, and myself. Right. And boy, the call just went as badly as any call could ever go, including having a bunch of people hang up on each other. And I sort of hear this voice in the background. I think it was Mark Abbott's at the time, and who's still at the league, and really one of these great caretakers of MLS, and probably doesn't get enough credit. But Mark said, "Well, I guess we're hiring the bankruptcy attorneys," and so then everybody hangs up.
This is day one.
This is day one for me. So my
so you must have been like, "Was it me?" I was kind of negotiating my salary.
Yeah, I was like, "How many years is my contract here?" And my brother looked over at me and goes, "Congratulations, you've been hired and fired on the same day." And our dad Lamar, just that never say die. He rallied a couple people. Phil Anschutz. Phil doesn't get enough credit.
Is that AEG?
AEG.
Yeah.
Robert Kraft rallied, and so we wound up with 3 teams. The third to the stable was the Burn at the time. As we look at this trippy logo, which is quite a conversation piece every time anybody comes in here in season. I just and I'm like, well, if you should have seen the Wiz logo too. Yeah. Those are some epic ones.
That's a rough one. But this Burn one's kind of trippy because the one thing I noticed growing up, I had friends that wore MLS jerseys because they were so flashy at the time and they were so cool. And the legs are lightning bolts on the horse.
Yes.
And that's something that, I don't know who the designer is. You haven't gotten any credit for it. It is awesome.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, I think it came out of Portland, and I'm not going to say what went into it. I'm not going to touch that.
Well, it's legal there now.
It is. Oh, and we're past the statute of limitations. Exactly. So we're all good. Yeah. We're all good. But we picked up the Burn at the time. Phil picked up basically 5.5 teams. Right. And the Kraft stepped in and got a half of another team, and the math was a little funky in that. But I got to be honest with you, you would sit around after those owners' meetings where there were 10 teams and the 3 of us, and it was like a mean game of Battleship. You'd sit around, it was like a folding table. We had gone down to basically having a folding table as our league meeting, and it was just where the league was at the time. We struggled.
That's not that long ago.
I know.
Isn't that insane? You're talking about it like it's black and white video, and this is not that long ago.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that long ago, and you're right. I dig this out of my memory, and I sort of shake my head at the whole thing. And then you get to Salt Lake coming in the league, and I remember that the purchase price for Salt Lake was like $3.8 or $3.9 million. We were all sitting there high-fiving each other around the table going, yeah! We got it.
We got 0.82
and everything. And now you look at what these franchises sell for, it just boggles your mind. And people are lined up out the door. I can almost go nowhere without getting asked, "Hey, how do I get an MLS franchise?" And I'm like, "Am I a Pez dispenser or an MLS franchise?"
Also, you hang out with a different class of people than we do, because no one's asking that. People are like, "How do we get in the game for free to watch one?" You know people who want to buy a team. Have you thought about selling? I mean, this is
I get asked all the time, and when I say all the time, people are like, "Oh yeah, we'd like to buy part of the team from you. What are your thoughts on that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good. We're good. We're good. We're in for the long haul on this." Awesome. And that's just who we are. And this is something I'm so passionate about and I love with all my heart. People ask me all the time, "Oh, do you like soccer better or American football better?" And I say, look, here's the truth of it. American football is the ultimate team game. You cannot take a half a step the wrong way. All right. Soccer is the most beautiful game in the entire world to watch. It is artistry. It is majesty that unfolds right in front of your eyes, right? The genius of what happens. Oh, and by the way, I have the greatest job in the world. So I'll let that answer it for you.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to look at it. I mean, this isn't bad. Going back to I don't know if you guys, we mentioned this, but you can oversee the stadium and the grounds here from the conference room that we're in. And we're in the conference room, there's photos of like the OG Dallas Burn days. And, there's the horse that they used to ride in and the old logo. Looking back and hearing the stories and looking around at this room and then looking out this window and seeing just this expansive new stadium with the Soccer Hall of Fame there. How much does that mean to you, and where else do you go from here?
Yeah, the change, and I think back, I'm looking at these photos and seeing the Cotton Bowl, and then our ill-fated experiment in South Lake when we did that, and we won't touch on that time period here.
The dark days.
Yeah, and the Cotton Bowl, to its credit, was an iconic stadium, and Dallas continues to spend on it, and it's had some games. And I know when the World Cup, 2026 comes around, it's in consideration, and as is AT&T. But you look at this facility and you say, wow, this is the culmination of a lot of good things and a lot of luck. We wound up here because of an article in the Dallas Morning News. My dad read a story about the city manager here in Frisco named George Purifoy, who made everything happen. There have been great mayors, but George is the deal maker. And we wind up here, and $113 million later for the stadium and the fields in this complex. And my dad made Clark and I promise before he passed away that we would continue to take care of our stadiums. He said, if you take care of your stadium, it will take care of you. And the National Soccer Hall of Fame is that next evolution. It was a $58 million expenditure.
Wow.
And what I would tell you is this was the third stadium in Major League Soccer. And if you look at the evolution, some of these new stadiums are really amazing. We really didn't have a front doorstep. You didn't have that iconic aha moment. And now we have that iconic moment for a photograph out front. That experience you take home with you. Every time we go to Chicago to see the Bulls play, we're a minority owner in the team, I get my photo with the Michael Jordan statue.
Yeah.
Right.
And we want people to take photos and take the experience home with them. So we've come a long, long ways from the days of Battleship sitting around with three owners.
That's pretty cool. That's so wild just to hear those stories.
I took a photo in front of the Jordan statue maybe like 8-9 years ago, and it was just the Jordan statue on a stone or whatever. Mm-hmm. And now it's like gorgeous. Like they put like a really nice lighting around it. I'm glad there's just some improvement. That's
I'm such a Knicks fan that I refuse to wear Jordans or take a picture with any statue.
I thought we were building a friendship, and now you tell me this.
To this day, I still can't wear Jordan sneakers because that man stopped us from having a parade over and over. He left. Sure. We still couldn't win one, and then he came back, and then he stopped us again. How do you do it? How do you do it?
Yeah, he was able to rain on other people's parades.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, he has. Monsoon.
So I did want to ask him. We'll see how much you can talk about it or not. But there's a clear emotional connection and a real bond with the league, and I'm sure with the other teams. Clearly, the Columbus situation was very complicated and very difficult for a lot of people. We actually did a show in Columbus for a lot of the Save the Crew fans, and it was incredible, and it had a huge effect on me seeing how passionate people were, right? Because if you're a passionate soccer fan, you live this almost weird life where you can't really talk about it with many people, right? And depending on what market you're in, right?
It's a subculture almost.
Yes. So seeing that made me more connected to the sport, more connected to that particular team. How do you feel in general about that concern, that fear of teams moving to begin with, which is obviously hard? What is your more than just your opinion, but more how does it feel from your perspective with all of that going on?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Columbus in the end. And here's what I would tell you about it. Again, something I got from my dad, and as I got older, I understood it more and more. It's not good to have sports franchises move. It's just not. People, it's their heart, their soul, their passion. It's unifying. We talk about the fans from Mexico and the generational love for these teams down there. It's some common bond that you can share that transcends most everything else. And so, you don't ever like to see a sports franchise leave. And I hope there's a resolution there and everything, can work out in a positive manner. Columbus is a great city. They deserve to have an MLS franchise, I believe. Again, when we built that stadium, that was an emergency build.
And that was also the first soccer-specific stadium in the country.
You got it. But that was an emergency build because Ohio State, who we were a tenant to playing our games there, and talk about difficult playing in front of crowds in the Horseshoe at the time. They said, "Oh, by the way, guys, you're out here. We're going to renovate the stadium and spend a bunch of money on it, so you have no place to play, Columbus Crew." And again, my dad, with that never say die attitude, which is now just so cool, said, "You know what? Well, I'm just going to go build a soccer stadium, and we're going to finish it in 9 months after the design." Which just insane.
Yeah.
You could never. That stadium was actually, I finished it basically in 9 months so that the crew could have a home.
Sometimes babies take longer.
Yeah. I did. I was a month late.
That explains a lot of things.
They took a little extra long with the design.
I like it. No, but so in retrospect, maybe that stadium's not in the perfect spot, and a stadium in a different area may be more successful, and I hope that soccer continues to grow in Ohio. When we built this thing here, people actually thought we had lost our mind. We're talking about this great stadium, but this was at the end of the earth as we knew it. I thought past being flat, I thought you fell off.
Yeah.
I didn't know this was here. I was like, "Dad, you read an article about what and where?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Don't you know the Kraken is there and their ships fall off?"
Right,
And-
Please stop reading.
It has worked out because the population moved here. And he said, too, there's a lot of wisdom. He said, "I will be gone, guys, but you will be in the right spot in Frisco. I promise you. And the toll road is going to go to Oklahoma, which is really the big economic driver here road-wise in this community. And, oh, by the way, the ivy will finally grow all the way out on the stage. And so we don't have to stare at the blank concrete walls anymore." I was like, this is a powerful moment here as all this is being imparted. So I hope for the people of Columbus. I hope for everybody in the region in Ohio, and obviously there's other MLS stuff going on that, they can stick around, whatever it is, and, be successful. But also, you need the community to support these teams. You got to have the fan base, with tickets, with in-stadium atmosphere, and the corporate partners too.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a huge one. Yeah. That's what's driving these teams right now. While TV revenue is where it is, you've got to rely on those things. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen in 2022 with new TV contracts. ESPN, Fox, everybody's been fantastic supporters of the league. I give all of our TV networks a lot of credit. They've done a great job of growing MLS.
Are you excited about a potential another interstate rival?
If people are like, "Oh,
does that harm your development?"
People all the time ask about, well, that'd be bad for you if there was a team in Austin or San Antonio or whatever. And I say, here's the truth of it. I actually think it will grow MLS in Texas if there's a giant rivalry with a couple teams.
Yeah.
I think that is a big positive, and I think it will push us if it happens. Houston is pushing us all the time. They've had successful teams on the field, and that rivalry our fans have latched onto, but having another team will just push us to work harder and innovate and be more thoughtful in how we recruit and build our teams here. So I think it's a good thing. The more teams, the merrier, especially when they're paying expansion franchise fees. That's
You're like, bring it on.
Bring it.
Well, Texas is so big, you can have your own MLS. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they do think they're their own country here, so it makes a lot of sense.
We allegedly were at some point.
Yeah. So. If you were handed Don Garber's seat for one day and you can make any change in the league, anything, didn't matter, no, nothing too outlandish, nothing too small, what do you think you would? I know it's a tough question.
I would argue he has more influence than Don Garber. I don't know. It seems like that.
Well, I mean, he's the commissioner, so I would assume, right, they can make changes. Whoever the king, the czar of MLS.
Yeah, he may have more. He actually fined me, and I had to pay. So,
really? Did you do it in pennies?
No, Don. My dad. It was an interesting comment on Don. Don coming from the NFL, and when he got the job, and my dad believed it, as we all do, was Don is the right guy at the right time for MLS. We would not be where we are today without Don Garber.
That's unequivocally. Even the fans who maybe have
boo him at the draft.
Yeah. And that happens all. You sit at the top, you're going to get booed, right? Even the fans who despise him sometimes and say really negative things about him, no one could take away what he has done for this league. He is another cornerstone. He got the league to where it is today because there was a period of time where no one thought, you just talked about it was going to survive past a phone call. And he was a big part of helping that sort of come out of that era.
Yeah. And Don is going into the National Soccer Hall of Fame this weekend, which is well deserved. And I think he's done a fabulous job. Having his seat is such a difficult conversation, to be honest with you. People always talk about, promotion, relegation. They talk about salary cap. They talk about all those things. The league is where it is, and the soccer in this country is where it is because the rules that we have, and it's made it successful. Otherwise, the league might not be here, and we would be living in the stone ages of soccer if MLS did not exist. I think, this may be one of my biggest, I would say this was what I would challenge the league with. How do we get Liga MX more involved with what we're doing at MLS, and maybe I know we have CONCACAF Champions League, but is there a thought or a day where we become one giant league? I think that would be super exciting.
That would be insane.
So that news recently came out, and it seems cool in theory. It just seems
it's exciting too.
Logistically, it seems like it would be quite intense. Is that not a fear, or?
Oh, it would be very intense.
Yeah,
I mean,
travel alone.
Travel alone. I mean, here's the truth, guys. Where do we stop in expansion, right? I mean, is it? People ask me, I say, is it 32 where the NFL is? And the truth is, you may have smaller markets that will be very supportive of MLS franchises, and you may get past 32. So then, do you say, well, man, we need to split back into an East and a West, and then you play on one side of the bracket or the other? There's just so many nuances. And I think another thing I would then challenge or say, I think we need to do a better job of explaining the format to our fans. And that's kind of a big nebulous statement. And you talked about the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and people congratulate me still all the time on that and have no idea what it is. Like,
your name's on it. Gotta be good.
Yeah, it's got to be good. It's got to be good. You appear okay. I'm looking at you. You're okay. It must have been a good thing. And I think educating soccer fans. I heard stuff recently that some of attendance challenges for different teams around the country is that people have a fear of not understanding the rules. There's a whole generation of people older than me that didn't grow up playing soccer, and so they have a little fear of not knowing the rules and being almost shamed into not knowing it. And so I think explaining the game, working on the format so that people understand. I mean, supporter shield versus winning MLS Cup. And then what is this CONCACAF Champions League thing? I just think we've got to figure out the right messaging here. But we've come a long ways.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Especially from the early talks and looking around at some of these photos, we have come a very
There's some
way.
Epic haircuts, by the way, in some of these photos.
Although Jason Kreis's photo, that haircut has not changed one bit.
Nope. It still looks exactly the same.
He literally does look the same. It looks like he just threw on like a throwback jersey and is running around his backyard in that photo.
Yeah. So recently, and it's been in the last year and a half or so, I bought a jersey, a Dallas Burn jersey that Oscar Pareja had signed.
Wow.
It was at one of our charity auctions, and Oscar and I have a really special relationship, and I wanted to have a Dallas Burn jersey, authentic and everything, and Oscar signed it. And one day I was going into my gym, and it's lined up with a bunch of jerseys, and I looked at it and go, wait, I was sold a bag of goods. I looked down at the tag on it. It was XL size. I was like, Oscar never sniffed an XL jersey at all. I was like, I want my money back from the FC Dallas Foundation. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Give me my money back, and I know who to talk to. Yeah. That's absolutely awesome. I mean, this has been really impressive, and we're really happy that we got a chance to come down here. You do a lot other than just be the president and part owner of FC Dallas. Is there somewhere where the fans can kind of keep up on what you and your groups are doing, or maybe follow you specifically? Are you active on Twitter?
Yeah, I spend a little bit of time on Twitter and also a little bit on Facebook. I periodically do chats. Maybe one of the fun things I do is a little Facebook Live. They can catch us on that. We schedule it out sort of once a month. That's a fun thing. And I've got other interests, but in the end, I'm here every day. I love this sport. I'm responsible for this franchise, but I'm also responsible for the story of soccer in this country. And I love it that people like you guys, I love it that there are fans out there. I've heard from more fans across the country in the last couple of days that have seen Hall of Fame stuff. I love it that people are passionate about the game. It's epic. We need that love. We need that passion. We need that enthusiasm and that encouragement to grow this game. We are the underdog, but that's about to change. I mean, we really have become one of the major sports. It was always, soccer.
It was the big four and soccer. Yeah, we're in it now.
And we're in it now. And my dad said, guys, I'll be gone, but in 50 years, I believe it's going to be the NFL and Major League Soccer. Those will be the big two leagues out there. And he was generally pretty good since he wound up in 3 major sports halls of fame and about 11 or 12 other ones. And so if I'm a betting man, I'm betting on Dad.
That's awesome. I can't wait for the league to develop they have DP players. We should have DPHs, designated podcast hosts, and then maybe we can get in that Hall of Fame.
I got him drafting a contract right now for you.
Buddy, I'll do it for barbecue. Okay.
Then we have a deal, sir.
I just negotiated down, my friend.
Dan Hunt, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to 2 comedians from New York.
Silly boys.
Thank you for welcoming us. Yeah, I mean, just as far as just being into the sport and being our hope is that the comedy world is no longer mocking soccer. I mean, that's usually from the stand-up world. That's usually what we always heard. There's plenty of comedians that mock the game and it's a big joke or whatever. And we're really trying to change that because nowhere else in the world would that be accepted, right?
Yeah, no, it's right. You guys remember the Simpsons episode where they had the soccer game where
wide
pass the ball back and forth in the back to each other. And he's like, one guy passes to the other guy passes back. Yeah. And you're right. It's a lot of laughter and a lot of good times, but this is you better get on this bandwagon now, and I appreciate you guys doing this. What a hoot to do it with y'all, and you're welcome back anytime for barbecue.
Thank you so much, Dan Hunt. All right, guys.
This is an honor.
The absolute honor. Thank you so much for listening. Again, make sure you like the show, subscribe to the podcast.
5 stars on iTunes is great. Join the Gully Squad.
Exactly. So, Dan Hunt, thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, that was a great interview. Dan Hunt.
Dan Hunt. Round of applause for Danny Hunt, right? So thank you again for listening to that. And like we said, let us know what you thought about that. And we, we have never spoken to an owner of a team. We didn't know exactly how to approach.
Let's say it correctly. No owner of any team has ever agreed to speak to us.
We're like insanely grateful. Again, I've been saying this, but it was FC Dallas did not have to do what they did, and to give us that amount of access and to be that it wasn't like even one of those things where they were like where Dan Hunt was like, I need to see the questions beforehand. He was just like, who you want me to talk to these guys? Okay, cool, I'll talk to them. And they were super cool and just almost irresponsibly cool. That's the point I'm trying to make. They were
it's like, you guys should be a lot less cool, okay? But honestly, it was a big honor for us, and I'm kind of sad that was our last interview we did there that we're going to put out. This should be the second segment should always be FC Dallas interviews perpetually, especially since they're going to get 11 new players. So it only makes sense.
I think we're the new scouting team. I don't know this.
We got hired.
Yeah, we make.
Please don't say that because people are going to believe that too. Okay, we need to stop this.
We make the player decisions on all the roster decisions here. So
so Reggie Cannon stays only if he admits that Eminem is out of date. So I mean, look, shouts to FC Dallas for having us down there. That was absolutely awesome. Now, our favorite moments from 2018.
That's right. What? Okay, so you want to go first?
Christian, why don't you start?
I mean, there were a lot of good ones, but favorite moment. I mean, honestly, so I think we might end up saying the same thing, but
is that because I told you what mine's going to be and you're about to say it now?
No. I'm not going to say. I want to say something specific about yours, because my favorite moment of 2018 of just the Cooligans experience had to be karaoke with Michael Majid during the World Cup comedy tour.
Well, here's the real shame is that the world didn't get to see this.
Yes, that is the real. Yeah, if you followed us on Instagram during that time, you saw some Instagram stories of this stuff, and this was. I
really hope TSS is listening.
Look, this was just so Michael Majid.
This is in Cincinnati.
This is you can look up Michael Majid. He's a comedian. He's also the host of the Inside the 18 podcast. It's a goalkeeping podcast. And on the tour, obviously you have to let off a little bit of steam, and people have different ways of doing that. And
some of them are just like sitting there quietly. Other people have more magical ways of doing it.
And yes, Michael Majid, while we were in Cincinnati, that bar that we were at, and
we were at a really sad bar.
Look,
the only way to explain it is a bar that could fit 150, but only 6 people showed up. They were doing karaoke. There was a child too young to be at a bar doing karaoke. There was a bunch of people who I think fancy themselves professional singers, and it was almost like an unspoken competition between them, and they were very they were encouraging each other, and it was all very sad.
It was all
extremely sad.
Karaoke singers, that's the last thing they should do is encourage each other. We don't need any of that. Where are you guys getting all this?
Have less of them if someone would have not encouraged them.
Where are you getting this confidence from? I don't know what this is.
How is this possible? There's beautiful people hiding at home, yet you're all out of here, just in your should be asleep clothes. No one was dressed to be out. It's like we're in a strip mall. The food was terrible. I don't know how to explain it. This was just the saddest place on earth.
But watching him,
and then a phoenix rises from the dust.
Watching him, he sang "Modest Yahoo" in.
Hold on, just in case anyone thought they misheard you, I need you to understand. This man knew all the lyrics
to
Modest Yahoo's King
every
Without
Modest
a Crown.
Yahoo song. Because we're in Cincinnati. We're in Southern Ohio. We're in basically Kentucky. All right. Nobody's Modest Yahoo. What? What'd you say about my mother? It's one of those things.
We're in Cincinnati. and all I can say is he knows all the lyrics to speed reggae rap.
Yeah. Oh man. Teenage Majid years must have been something special.
Wild. I kind of want to readjust my favorite moment of 2018 to Taylor Rockwell's face as Mike Majid sang the lyrics to Mother Child. I'll say this. My favorite moment of 2018 was just, when we finally got on the plane to come home after that World Cup comedy tour. It was 3 weeks away from home, which was, tough on all of our loved ones to just take that huge chunk of time in the summer to go away. But I couldn't thank the fans more. I couldn't think of anything better. Just, when we started this podcast, we said, trust me, there's a market out there for people who like comedy and like soccer. And there was no better proof of that than the thousands of fans. And I may be making that number up, but the hundreds of fans that came up to us and were just like, yo, this is so great. We can't wait till you do this again. Next time we promise to tell people about it now that we know what this is.
Because we thought it was a trap at first.
Yeah, dude, so many people were like just real sus about what was going to happen. They just didn't understand, is this even going to be good? One show in particular was a family that was very upset because they thought this was going to be all jokes about soccer and their kids played soccer. And I swear sometimes. So they were very upset. But I mean, all in all, I mean, if you look at that entire tour from the highs of Mike Madgett doing Yahoo to the lows of Virginia Beach, the whole thing, I wouldn't give up any of it. It was all perfect, and it was exactly what I had hoped for. And I can't wait to see sort of how our live shows are adapted now after this, and now that I know that people want to see us live even more, I can't wait to do it again and again and again.
Yeah, it was 2018 did change our lives dramatically with the kind of support that we got, kind of love, and just the new love affair between the Cooligans and Total Soccer Show. I mean that
absolutely
was quite a bond that we didn't know what to expect, and we now, and it's not just a group of people that enjoy working together, but we're all friends now, which is we gained some new friends going on that tour, and that was really, really great. So
it was absolutely awesome. And the other thing also, I just want to, I'm going to mention the name Atlanta again, but that last show happened to be in Atlanta because it was for MLS All-Star. So if MLS All-Star was in any other city, it would have been there. But to have that culmination of all of those just legends that we've admired from afar, and sportscasters and writers and stuff that we admire their writing and their journalism, to have them all in one room, and those fans who said, you know what, I'm not going to go to the Men in Blazers show, or I'm going to leave the Men in Blazers show to catch the World Cup Comedy Tour. For the people who did that, and for the writers and the soccer legends, and Tony Meola and Alexi Lalas and Max Brados and all the people that showed up and got on stage, just absolutely floored me, man. When I looked out, when I shushed Alexi Lalas for speaking too loud at the back of a comedy show, just the mere thought of those words coming out of my mouth, if you would have told 10 or 12-year-old me that, he would have told you were lying. You know what I mean?
But honestly, not that big of a surprise that somebody had to tell Alexi Lalas to shut up.
No, that is true. But the fact that we got to be the ones to do it.
It was an honor, right?
It was an absolute honor. And, we talk about this all the time, that, the live show is really where you get to see who we are and what we do. And for so many people to get a chance to see that, and so many important people, including the fans and people who've supported us since day one, like your Jay Riddles and your Kelly Francis and Footy Mob was out there, and all those other groups. It's just everyone. It was just absolutely incredible. The culmination, and DeLupa was, just so many people that we work with, that we love, that came to see us and were like, yo, you guys are really funny. Like, for real. That was insane to me. Like, for Tony Meola to tell me I'm funny when I'm like, homie, you're a legend. Your face is on, your posters up at sandwich shops. You know what I mean?
And Max Brados came up to me. He was like, Sucio. He was like, oh, you're a little dirty up there.
That is perfect, dude.
That made me so happy. So yes, those were that tour was huge for us. I mean, there's so many. Look, we can go on for hours on like super fun things that we got to do in 2018. But all you got to do is really just follow us on anything we do, and and you'll see. Watch our YouTube channel is one of those things that you can like look back on, and you can sort of see the history of the Cooligans and how we got to where we are, from our older episodes recording in like your apartment. You know what? I watched those from time to time, and I'm like, damn, Alexis, you've lost so much weight from when we started this. You were tremendous. What the hell happened?
Yeah, man, I did lose a lot of weight. I look back and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm still eating pizza. Your boy is figuring it out.
Okay.
Also, this is something we should probably do offline, but do you still have the video, you think, of him singing that, doing karaoke?
I'm sure I do. Yeah. I look, I
why don't we do this? Why don't we post that up in the Gully Squad group?
Okay. Sure, yeah, it is a privilege to watch that. That cannot go out just to the public.
No. That is, you need to join Gully Squad just to see this video. Honestly, even if it's just for a month, it's worth it to get in this group to see this video. It is that gold.
It is really ridiculous. So, yes, all right. So we'll do that. So, a couple quick things, just in case there was any issue with for anyone. We have a new podcast feed. We've moved over from self-hosting the podcast feed, and now we have moved over to Libsyn. So thank you, Gully Squad, for making that happen again, because those things that are not free and that your support helps things like that happen. But Libsyn is a much better service for us to be using, and we're finally going to be all more professional and all that stuff. So just in case there was any issue, there shouldn't be any issue with how you're listening to the show. Like if you subscribe to the show, you shouldn't lose any subscription. You shouldn't have to hit the button again. Everything should be normal. But right now, I know for sure that the Google Play feed will not be updated just yet. It might take a couple days. I've already submitted it to Google, but just so there's not many people that listen on Google Play, but I'm just letting you know in case you're finding this in another place and you're like, how come my feed didn't update? So just a heads up. So everything should be normal, but us moving to a new podcast host helps us with a lot of different back-end things that's going to be a lot easier to get a lot of this stuff to you. So thank you.
Yeah, we're growing up.
We're growing up. Right. We've been all responsible and professional. So thank you again for listening to the show. I hope you had a great New Year's Eve. I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope 2019 we're trying to be positive. We're trying to do a lot more fun, creative things, and really make Cooligans just a podcast, a website, a Twitter account that you want to come out to just like have a couple laughs because you enjoyed a beautiful game just like we do, and that's our promise to you, that we're gonna bust our ass to like really make this unique and fun. And there's a lot stacked up against us to be able to do a lot of these things, but we're gonna.
Hell yeah, because I know they're listening.
Because we're so
I know them haters are listening. I know they're reading the tweets.
Yes, Alexis's Twitter account is quite entertaining when it comes. I don't really offer that kind of stuff, son. But we offer different takes on how we experience the world, and Alexis handles things in his own way, and which is his right. So I have nothing else to say about it. You can,
as the great Troy Ave once said, "If you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, is you?" And let me tell you something. 2019, Christian, we must be popping.
Okay, so that's always exciting. So, yeah, man, I can't even stress it anymore, man. 2019 is gonna be dope. I personally am on a mission to make this incredibly fun and exciting, and I just want to make you laugh and enjoy the game in a way that you never thought you could. So that's our promise to you. We're gonna make sure that happens. So.
Hell yeah, dude! You're gonna have to cover your eyes from our glow, son.
Okay, that's all right. Look, a Bird Box reference. All right. Look, it's getting real relevant right now.
Hell yeah!
So thank you everyone for listening to the show. We appreciate it. We appreciate it very, very much. My name is Christian Polanco.
My name is Alexis Guerrero.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans.